You're watching Pegarai TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Salam. My name is Sheikh Abu Hakim Abdullah, President Chairman of Al Masjid Sharia Allah, AMSA, a non-profit religious organization operating in the state of Rhode Island, USA. And I'm talking to you now about reorganizing yourselves. Not throwing anything, and taking out all the garbage that we done accumulated in Islam. There's many people that know what I'm about. They know that I don't accept terrorism. I don't accept murdering ourselves and killing each other. And I don't believe that we should have all these different sects. I figure that Sunniism is just as bad as Shiaism because it's a sect. There is no such thing as the way you read Quran and the Hadith. It'd be just as bad if it's a set name in the Prophet Muhammad's name, or a set name in Aisha's name, or Ali. It's a set. Because why I say that is because he said, the name I have completed your way of life. And your way of life should be Islam. It's called Islam. And you will be called Muslims and Mu'min. I don't know no place in there where he said you would be called Sunnis and Shias and Ahmadiyas and all them different names that we're using. So if we made these things up and put these in the Quran and the Hadith, then we have violated the laws of Islam and have done what he said not to do. So I say we're really strict Muslims, straight Muslims, Orthodox Muslims. No sets, no different that. You cut all that stuff out. You cut out some of this stuff where we're doing different things. I don't know no place in Quran where he says, the law says to us that we got a brother, 12 brothers, walking around, calling themselves committees, that is opening up the doorway to paradise for us. And we can't get there without them, without coming through them. There's no place in Quran that is said. But we did this to ourselves. We did this. And we got the Sunnis, the Sufis, the Ahmadiyas, the Kurds. We got all these different things going on. And all that's an open violation of the law's deen. And the only ones that don't think it's an open violation of Allah's deen is those that call themselves one of their names. So I feel that we should pull this off of us, just snatch it off of us, and say, this is not the way it's supposed to be, and call ourselves Muslims. Now, that's going to be hard to do. That's going to be real hard to do. But if we don't accept what the law is saying and continue to do this stuff like we're doing it, we're going to push Islam in the minds of people in such a light that we won't be able to get any members into Islam. And Islam won't be able to exist except the way it's being it is today. I looked at some. I did this program one time. Maybe I'll find it and put it back on television. Put it back on the television and the net. I have it. I have all the programs I did all this time in Rhode Island. But I did a program. Let me explain to you what happened on the program. A reporter trying to examine why the Muslim is misquoted by so many people. So he went to a group of converted skinheads and beer drinking and alcoholics and everything else in London that is talking about killing us and all that and marching against us and call us barbaric and everything, to find out why they do it or how they do this. One of the leaders is 25 years old, and he's really playing a game. He's like a British nationalist, white nationalist. And he got a group of them ball-hanging people like that hate everything. That hate everything, except especially he hates everything. He don't like the Jews, don't like this, don't like that, and now he don't like Muslims. Well, anyway, this guy jumped into the car with this person. And the person wanted to show him the community of Muslims. And they got in this car, the cameraman, the driver that was driving the car, and the newspaper person. And he's driving down the street. And he says, oh, you see that guy there? That's the Muslim leader here. He's one of the leaders. So he knew it was going to happen. And this is how these people think and plan. And we emotional people, very emotional, and we forget sometimes, and we forget a lot of times, and we react when we shouldn't react the way we want to react. So he slowed the car down and dropped the window. Let the window down. Let the window down. So he slowed the car down on purpose. Now the imam, the leader, I don't know the imam or what, but he came back into the street and he crossed the street. He's leaning in the car talking to him. So he said, "Well, why don't you get out the car and talk?" He says, "No, I'm not going to do that." He says, you're a fascist, you're a communist, this is the brothers telling him all this stuff. I'm listening to how he's telling him. He said, you are prejudiced, you're all prejudiced. You hate it so much, you're all messed up. So the dude is sitting in the car saying, So he turned around and he heard enough. It's on the TV now. He heard enough. It's on the camera. He pulled over and he's starting to move up a little faster. So the guy outside the car is walking a little faster to try to keep up with the car. He said, "Why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running?" Like the guy's running from him. He's not running from him. He's baiting him. See, he's baiting. I see the bait. I see him following the lure. And soon he'll check it like that, catch it. So the dude turned around and said, "Why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running?" He said, "I'm not running from you. I'm not running." And he turned around, he reached in the car and smacked him. Bang! I said, "Oh, astaghfirullah." Now everybody else probably said, "Oh, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, yeah. So the boy, the dude that's doing this, didn't get out of the car. He turned around to the camera and he said, "You see that? That's what they follow. That's that Islam. That's what Islam tells them to do. Punch somebody in the mouth, smack somebody in the mouth to do enough. That's that Islam told them to do that." So he really closed the window and gone. You see, now, instead of the brother finding out where this guy is, who this person is with the camera, he let it go ahead. And now it got on the television. It's around the country now, it's around the whole world, because it's on the net and everything of him smacking this person in the mouth, calling him all these names, and the guy ain't said nothing against him. Nothing. He didn't say nothing to bring that on. All the stuff he said was said somewhere else weeks ago. So I'm letting you see this stuff, what's happening. I'm giving you, what he did was show and let Islam get blamed for his actions. And that's what he did. He blamed Islam and Allah and the Prophet Muhammad and all the 1.5 billion Muslims for that brother's actions. And the brother put his hand on when he wasn't supposed to. He wasn't being attacked. He had no business reaching in that car smacking anyone. And he never got in touch with this cameraman and apologized for his actions as an individual. You see, we let this devil, evil, pull us into something and pull us out of us, the jinns, the evil stuff that we have inside of us, and use it against, we do things against our own selves. And I'm telling you this. I want you to listen to me. There's very few people that says La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah that stand up on on this boob tube or this computer and tell you the truth about what is going on. We had no right putting our hands on that man. We should have stood there, he should have stood there and said, why are you around here, man? Why are you around here? What brings you into this neighborhood and you talking about read this and read that and read this and read that? And hold his hands like that. And hold his temper back. You see? That's because of what we tell ourselves Islam is. We misuse our own deen. And we bring that upon ourselves. Whatever happens from that smack, we brought it upon ourselves. So, I wanted you to understand that. We must begin to reorganize ourselves and get some control upon our actions and deeds. We don't have any control on ourselves. It's like if you stood up on a bridge with a big brick, big boulder, and you stand up there and you drop it into the ocean off the bridge and drop it in, the water will go all different directions. Pow, 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 pow. And the waves will come up and make tidal waves. And that little wave that starts out will be a big wave like that when it gets down to the end. That's why we must organize and put some control on ourselves. The Imams are not controlling us like they should. They're not following their book. They're not following this book. The Emirs are not following this book. We have no real central leadership. And we're out there doing what we want to do in certain countries. The only guys that have some kind of control and central leadership are the guys that's blowing up people's houses and stuff. But us free Muslims that don't have an emir over us, don't have an imam over us, and in countries like this, we have a board of directors over us that don't want to have physical Islam in the beginning, so they want everybody to go against it, want everybody to be free with no responsibility to the Islam. And that's what's happening today. That's why I say you must organize yourselves again. You must organize yourselves. And the law says don't put your hand on nobody unless they attack you. The jihad is a defense mechanism, not a offense mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. Allah says those that a Muslim don't get smacked in the same place twice. And he told the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, now you can defend yourself after he left Mecca and grouped up into Medina. Now you can defend yourself. This is when the Sharia came down. And the organization started to move in. And that's what we got to do now. We got to start to organize ourselves. We got to start to sit down and live as one. That's what Allah said. The Ummah is one brotherhood, not 40 different brotherhoods, one brotherhood. And the only way we're going to get some organization going is when we think of it that way, one brotherhood. We all supposed to follow this book. This book should be at every doorway in the masjid, every doorway of a masjid, and the 9 volumes should be at every doorway of the masjid. We don't need all them other books about life after death, all that kind of stuff. We don't need them books. We need to take them books and take them somewhere and put them in a big bin, or either take them books and get rid of them. This is all we need, is these 10 books right here. The 9 here and the 10, 1 here. And we need to teach out of this, everything else out of these books. The only other book we need is the books that have explanations about prayer, how to eat, what hands to eat with. And that's all in this book here, all in these books here. There's nothing else you need. It tells you how to wash your hair and what you're supposed to do with your hair, how to lay on your wife, how to do all that stuff is right in these books. You don't need nothing else. Believe me, you don't need nothing else. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. But excuse me for fun all the gas and stuff. This is what we need to do. One is to take all this other stuff in the Beit HaMasalis, and the Imam need to take back the control of the masjids. And we should turn around then and tell the Imam, hey, you stay here around this masjid 24/7, and that's your job, being our leader in the masjid. And you dictate the policies for us in this masjid. And they better come underneath these books. Now he's supposed to turn around then and make a contact with the other masjids. And you need one grand masjid. You don't need 30 masjids stretched down the street. You don't need that. You need one grand masjid that we all go to or meet at to do business together. But the real masjid and all that stuff, the real group masjid, the neighborhood masjid, supposed to come into that big masjid. And the Imam is supposed to be taking care of the masjid and everything else. I was speaking to a brother the other week. It's called on When You See This Program. I don't know when you're going to see this program, but when you do see this program, I was talking to a brother, and I said, did the Imam see the program? And he said, we don't have an Imam. And I looked at him. No, they don't. So they have freedom to do what they want to do. They have no control because they have no head. A body must have a head. You cannot have a head across the street or down the block. A body here must have a head. And in Islam, there is no such thing as a board of directors having that head. It must be an Imam or an Emir. because one of the reasons it can be an emir is because we still pray and listen to the orders of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, and he is the one Imam. We can accept him as a living Imam. But to do that, we must have an emir that's living very close to the Imam ways and whatnot, for he can dictate the policies and stuff to us as if he was the Imam. And that's not easy to do. So you must have an Imam. And you must break this board of directors up. The only reason this board of directors should be in an Islamic organization in the United States or in a foreign country is because in a foreign country they got rules and regulations on how an organization should be working to get the 501c3, or the different laws that organizations come underneath, tax exempt or organization that's not tax exempt. So you've got to have, the church should have what is called 3 people board of trustees and a preacher. So, so our Master Sharia law has a president chairman that was appointed by the board of directors. And the board of directors gave all authority to the Imam and the president chairman. And this thing here, the Imam is the president chairman. You see? So this is the way we must do it. Now, this is what we got to do. And we got to begin to organize ourselves to act as one unit. What happens on one street must be relayed to the other street. And the other street must do vice versa. So when something happens here, the one on the other side of the street know about it and forms to it. You see, that's the way you got to live in an ummah. And that's not the way we're doing it. It's like we got different groups of brothers and sisters every different block. That's what's happening to us. So I'm talking to you, trying to get you to first break down your organization, put it back together, whether it be on Cranston Street or Fulton Street in Brooklyn or Salam Street in Kuwait, or or Medina Avenue in Saudi Arabia, wherever it's at. And your leadership is this book. This book and the one on the bottom is your Imam and your Quran. And that's what you got to live by. So I advise you to begin doing this here, to start to work on that right away. Because there's a long ways to go. You got to begin to organize the bottom to work up to the top. Because there's nothing at the top. So you can't change this. But you're going to have to change the leadership, the self-appointed leadership of the top. See, you got people that own certain properties and got certain amounts of money that figure they the leaders of Islam, and they're not.